I mean, we're here basically as an atheist program. Our view as atheists, the reason we do this program is a response to religious programming and religious ideas. Our view is we don't believe a God exists.
What I just said. It's the methodology. It's not consistent with any workable methodology to figure out anything, no less atheism.
Atheism is a lack of belief in gods. Why does that need to be figured out? Some clown comes here and he says, oh, there's a big invisible magic man in the sky who grants me wishes, and we say, prove it, and he says, I can't, and we say, well, we don't believe in that. Beyond that, what do we need to prove here?
Okay, I'll tell you exactly what. First of all, a refutation of biblical interpretation of the Christian Bible is just as inane as a biblical interpretation of the Bible. Who are you arguing with? You're saying that you're refuting a biblical interpretation of the Christian Bible. That's your position.
A biblical interpretation of the Bible.
I'm not in the business of interpreting the Bible. I mean, basically, my point of view about the Bible is there is no particular reason to take any of it seriously.
Yeah, we can only respond. I've said this already on the show tonight. We can only respond to the claims that we get from theists.
Which fallacy in particular is it?
Okay, it's a fallacy that you have this neutral position.
We don't claim to have a neutral position. We don't have a neutral position because we say quite openly we don't believe in any gods. How is that a neutral position? We're quite open about it. It's what the word atheist means.
Positive atheist.
I'm getting kind of tired of you here, Charles, because I'm waiting for you to make a point. Okay, and you're just rambling and go, well, you guys aren't, in line with this or that or the other, and you don't. But you're not giving us examples. You're not giving us any reason to believe. You're not giving us any reason to agree with you on things yet because you're not defending a position. You're just coming out with criticisms that are rambling and incoherent so far. A biblical interpretation of the Bible? I mean, come on. What are we supposed to? What is our point of view supposed to be?
To my ability to explain it. Now.
Well, if you can't explain your ideas, how can we understand you?
There is no God. The statement there is no God is not categorically different than the statement that there is.
We say we don't believe in any gods. We did not say there is no God, and that is a categorical difference.
So you are not a positive atheist.
I don't think you're understanding the word positive in context. I think what we mean when we say that we promote positive atheism is that we promote atheism in a positive way. We're the nice atheists, basically. We're the guys you want to hang out with.
The point is, at the very beginning of this call...
We're trying to make positive difference in society.
The point is, at the very beginning of this call, okay, you criticized us for not having whatever good methodology or reasoning and being inane or whatever. And so I said, okay, why should we believe in what it is that you claim to believe? Please defend your beliefs. You admitted you couldn't, so why are we still talking? Unless you can, sort of...
That's not what I said.
Well, yeah, we can probably play back the recording and show it. So, again, give us some reason why your point of view is right. You think we're wrong, so obviously you think that you have a point of view that is more accurate in terms of understanding the world and the universe than ours is. Fine. Please defend that. Present your evidence for what it is that you believe, and let us evaluate it.
I think the notion of a cause existing outside of a knowable, observable universe is cognitively useful.
Might be cognitively useful.
So it's cognitively useful, but is it true?
Is it accurate? I mean, the notion of that I have a pet unicorn who gives me rides every day might be cognitively useful, but what does it demonstrate about reality?
And see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's what you have just done.
What, is pointed out how stupid your argument is?
No, see, it's not a stupid argument, because it's...
So what if something is cognitively useful?
About epistemology, my ability to know. You're just trying to stick a unicorn in my mouth that made me look silly, but, I can't...
That would look pretty silly.
That would look... Here. Your ability to know something has nothing to do with whether or not a certain concept is cognitively useful. It has to do with, can you demonstrate that it's real and has application?
Okay, demonstrate that 4 is real.
1, 2, 3, 4. I can,
No, how is it real? In what capacity is it real? What is the nature of its existence?
4 is a word that describes a concept. Basically.
So you're saying then that God is just an abstract representation of something?
Now we're right back to where I started, and you just griped at me saying that this had nothing to do with anything, and we're now very in the midst of the argument I was just presenting, because this is the same consistent viewpoint that's presented on this show, and it is a materialist viewpoint. You're going to tell me that numbers are only important, are only in any way imaginable as conceptual tools. They have no use or existence outside of our conception. They are derived and bound within the mind.
Well, whose conception should be useful to us? Aliens from an alternate dimension? I mean, our conceptions of things do help us understand certain things, but mostly when we're looking at truth claims, and this is what religion hits us with, right? Religious people call us up, and they make claims that in their mind are truth claims. They claim to know that there is some sort of divine being, that he does X, that he wants X from us in terms of worship and belief. Right. And we respond to that by asking for the evidence, and if we don't get it in such a way that we think it's a satisfying answer, compelling evidence, we'll tell them, well, we don't really see any reason to believe you. So why is that wrong for us to take that attitude, that approach?
That approach, because that's not the approach you're taking. What you are taking is necessarily dependent upon the statement you just made. Okay?
Should I make points of view that are, should I embrace views that aren't dependent upon statements that I make and ideas that I actually have?
You're making, it's a sophistic claim to say, oh, I'm from this neutral position, I don't believe this, you have to give me evidence.
We don't say we're from a neutral position. You are trying to tell us we say stuff that we don't say. Listen, let me cut to the end of your argument. Does God exist?
I think so.
Okay. Do you have a reason for that, or do you just like believing in it because it's a useful concept?
No, I think the distinction I would have to make is it's from C.S. Lewis, and he said he believes in God like he believes in the rising sun.
Well, I can see the rising sun, dude, so I think that you're arguing for a different God, because if it was anything like the rising sun, you wouldn't have to go off on all these tangents about the number 4 and stuff.
Yeah.
No,
if you want to defend God as a concept that's in your mind, or if you want to defend God as something that's just the way the universe works, then that's fine. You can believe that stuff. What?
Do you know what figurative language is?
Yeah. Is God figurative language?
No. But
then why ask that then?
If it's a thing that exists.
And you misinterpret it as literal. That's ridiculous. You won't even let me finish what I was saying, and you say, oh, the rising sun, I can see it.
That's a comparison that you
made. The comparison to the rising sun.
That's how we interpret the world, is by making figuration, synthesis. I mean, it's not idiotic. The quote, it's actually the means by which I was going to tell you why I think God might be necessary. And that is because C.S. Lewis, he thought of God like the rising sun. Not only that he saw it rise, but by it he saw everything else.
So in other words, he interpreted the rising sun to be God.
Hold on. The notion of causality, which is what I presented as my belief, as my definition of God, is not necessarily central to the existence of the universe, but it may be central to my understanding of it. Mm-hmm. And that is why I require God to talk to you about it, because I make the presumption when I talk to anyone that what I'm saying is intelligible. And I think intelligibility may require causality.
Well, so you might want to re-examine that assumption in the
ignore
future.
Causality may be irrational.
So essentially, God is simply your word for causality.
Well, it's a very specific cause, yes.
Okay. Well, it seems to me like you've just come up with another word for causality.
Well,
and, I mean, if that's cognitively useful, fine, but... Yeah.
You agree there's something outside of our universe that caused it? We're in agreement?
I don't see any reason to think that there is anything outside of our universe.
Unless we're talking about a metaverse of some sort.
But that's all speculative. Again, we have no more hard evidence for a megaverse than we have for heaven. So, so in terms right now, beyond
its megaverse is equivalent to theism.
But my point of view is that beyond talking about it in speculative terms as an idea that might be interesting, like alternate dimensions or faster than light travel, it's really not useful for any sort of.
What if it has a mathematical basis? That's the problem we're running into. Is that you have an impoverished view of reality that is based on your interpretation of material. It has no other balance through which to view it. That's the problem. That's my criticism. And you say, no, that's not valid, but then you continue to demonstrate it over and over again. Well, and I don't mean to be mean, but you're not aware of it. These are not issues I'm bringing up. These are issues that are current modern-day issues in philosophy, in physics, in every realm of human inquiry. And you can't dismiss them with some slipshod, well, that's silly, I'm from a neutral position. You have to convince
There
me.
you go, straw manning again, man.
Okay,
I mean, you're just...
actually, we can dismiss them as silly, especially when you keep saying things over and over
Yeah.
again that we've already disagreed with.
Yeah.